What's up, everyone? My name is Jaleesa. This is Green Mable, and we talk about all amazing things called plants. And if this is your first time here, welcome, and please be sure to hit the like and subscribe button. Today we're going to talk about philodendrons. I love philodendrons. They're some of the easiest house plants to own. This one right here is my favorite. This is the Heartleaf Philodendron. Several things to love about these plants, especially the Heartleaf Philodendron plants, from ease of watering, how often you have to water, the temperature that's maintained, the humidity, several things that I'll discuss in this video. So I've had other philodendrons in the past, but I really prefer this one, the bushier style philodendron vining plants, just because the way that some of the other ones, like the red Congo I've had in the past, they're beautiful, but I feel like sometimes as they age, they're kind of tricky to care for. So I know that I prefer like the bushier type of philodendrons. So that's why I've kept this one over the years, and other Heartleaf Philodendron Brazil. I've had that one before also. I've had the silver sword philodendron. That's not a bushy one. And I've also had one of the lime green and like the split leaf kind of wrinkly type. I'll put a picture. This is what I'm talking about. I've had that one, but this one, of course, has been my favorite. And so we're going to talk about and focus on this one in the video. So this plant is really a low maintenance type of plant. This one loves light indirectly. So how I have this plant set up is, as you can see right here, I have it not too far away from an east facing window. It does really well right there. It's not directly in the windowsill, but it's a little bit further back and down. And it loves that spot. Like, it loves being right there. Sometimes I'll put it in the window if I think it needs a little bit more sunlight, but most of the time it does really well where I have it. And this plant loves that bright and direct light. It does well with the level of humidity that is in the area that I'm in. I'm in the Gulf Coast region of Texas, so in the Houston metropolitan area, we get plenty of humidity, especially in the summer. So it's in its growing season. It's a growing season, its growing phase. As far as fertilizer goes for this plant, I have some of the fertilizer pellets that are in this plant right now, and it's doing really well with it. Right now the soil is actually pretty dry to the touch, but you can see how well it looks and is behaving. There's a few dry dead leaves under here, and I like to allow this plant to dry out completely between the waterings, just because I don't want to ever overwater my plants. And I typically don't have that problem with any of the plants that I have as far as overwatering, but I have noticed that when you get them from the store, a lot of times they're overwatered, and then there's gnats that attract and are coming out of the soil and all that kind of stuff. So thankfully that's not the case with this plant, but I did have a recent plant that I had a lot of trouble with because it was extremely moist when I left the store with it. And had I really realized it, I probably would not have purchased that plant. I would have left it there, especially given all the gnats and stuff that came with it. So this plant, like I said, I water it. I let it dry out completely between the waterings, and I let it, I go probably a week and a half between the times that I water it. Honestly, I can't remember the last time I watered this plant, but as you can see, it's not hurting for water. So looking closely at this plant, if you see, wherever you see these little nodules, this is where you can cut this vine and you can place it in water or soil, and it is going to create its own new plant. And that's my intention for this, this Heartleaf Philodendron. It loves a good pruning. Pruning meaning propagate it. You can propagate it or you can prune and cut it and just reduce the size or reduce the length of the vine. And pruning will cause this plant to grow bushier. But this is one of the easiest philodendrons. If you look closely here, you can see that some of the vines are a little bit more like bushier than the others. I love that the leaves are varied in the size of the hearts. So you have some with really big hearts, some leaves with really big hearts, and some that are smaller. So I have one that's right here. It's about the size, close to the size of my hand. I have small hands. And then one that is like kind of an ear size, and some that are really small. And so when they grow, they're really small, and you can tell they're really bright green. And then as they age, they accumulate more of that chlorophyll and become darker green. But I love this plant. It could use a little bit of a shedding, so I can take some of these off. But this is not an indicator, if you can see that. This does not mean that the plant is not healthy or that it's having a hard time. This is normal. So there's going to be a little bit of a normal shedding that comes with new vines that come out of this plant. But yeah, it loves a good cleanup. It loves bright light, not bright direct light, but near a window. I know that some people can get away with like this being a lower light plant, and that is generally not my recommendation for this plant. Bright indirect light, but yes, some sunlight. I love to have my plants near east, south, and west facing windows. I won't even bother putting a plant in a north facing window unless I have absolutely no other choice. I can get away with it a little bit better down here based off of where I am, my geography in South Gulf Coast region of Texas, because even a northern window here at this part of the globe is still receiving bright light, bright indirect light. Whereas someone further up north, let's say in Michigan, Ohio, something like that, a north facing window for a plant like this really won't do anything at all. In fact, it will be the quickest way to hurt a plant is by placing it in a northern facing window at that part of the nation, if you're in the United States. But I want to, yeah, just kudos to this plant. This plant has been with me for a while, and I like to keep it trimmed. You know, I don't need it to be 10 feet tall or 10 feet long or anything like that. I like it to be nice and contained. So that's what I have. I have a nice and contained Heartleaf Philodendron. That's what I prefer. So, hey, do you like Heartleaf Philodendrons? Let me know in the comments below. And if you have any questions about this plant, I'd be happy to answer them in another video. So leave your comments and questions, and that will wrap it up for the Heartleaf Philodendron. So what I also want to mention is that I will do a propagation video, because I would like to make another plant from this plant and place it in my room. So I want to have another Heartleaf Philodendron just because I just love how this plant looks and it's so gorgeous. So I want to have another one. So we'll do a propagation video in the near future. That is all I have for now. Thank you all so much for watching and for being here. And I look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Bye now.